My name is Shanikia McAuley Spears, President of Ascension Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. We welcome you to our 2024 Candidate Forum. The purpose of this forum is to give the voters of Ascension Parish the opportunity to make an informed decision for the upcoming 2024 election. Early voting begins October the 18th through October 29th from 8:30 a.m. through 6 p.m., excluding Sundays, October the 20th and 27th. Election Day is November the 5th, 2024. Everyone, please exercise your right to vote. We appreciate all candidates who are here participating in this forum. An invitation was extended to all qualifying candidates. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is a 501c7 nonprofit organization that does not endorse any candidates running for elected positions and will follow a nonpartisan, unbiased, impartial format. Tonight's event will be televised on Ascension 21, live streamed on Facebook and YouTube, as well as recorded for later playback. Our moderator for this evening is Yolanda Martin Singleton, member of the Ascension Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta and president of Ascension Chapter of the NAACP. Please welcome Yolanda Martin Singleton.
Good evening. I bring you greetings from the Ascension Parish branch of the NAACP. Founded in 1909, the NAACP is the nation's oldest and the boldest civil rights organization. It was formed in New York City by white and black activists. For 115 years now, the NAACP continues to lead the charge in civil rights struggle and fighting injustices such as housing discrimination, education, voting rights, redistricting, and disparity in healthcare. Welcome. I will go over the rules with the candidates and the audience. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to give their opening remarks to introduce themselves. The moderator will then ask the first round of questions, then written questions from the audience, if any. Don't worry, we have plenty of questions if the audience is shy. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question. If time permits, candidates will also have 30 seconds for a closing statement. Our timekeeper tonight is Ms. Tabitha Irvin. She will have the 15-second when your 15 seconds is remaining, and then she will also have the stop. You want to show them? And stop means stop. And Joy Nicholas, where is she? Oh, okay. And Joy Nicholas this evening on this side. The audience will have the opportunity to submit questions by handing their note cards to Ms. Colinda Parker. Raise your hand, Colinda. Written questions will be accepted throughout the forum. All questions are screened to ensure they are applicable to all candidates, are not personal in nature, and addressed to subjects relevant to this forum. Due to the length of our program, the time requirements will be strictly adhered to. Again, our timekeepers will indicate when you have 15 seconds remaining and when to stop. Your time will start when you begin speaking. We'll start our questions tonight with our congressional candidates. And we have tonight here with us Mr. Shales. I'll start off with you with the first question. You want to do 2 minutes? Okay. Okay, I'll start here with Mr. Shells.
Good evening. Thank you, Delta Sigma Theta, for
You're
inviting me.
welcome.
My name's Ross Shales. I am from the West Bank of Jefferson Parish. I grew up in a community very much like this. Petrochemical community with its pluses and minuses. A community that sees its jobs sometimes come and go. One that deals with concerns about pollution and also realizes how much money these jobs bring in. I grew up in a place like that. I'm a 22-year war vet, or 22-year military vet, 3 tours in Iraq, and I am also a Republican. I'm the Republican that's running as the anti-Trump Republican. I am the anti-Trump Republican. I really do believe that a Republican's going to win the 1st congressional district. I really do. So I think it boils down to which one you're going to vote for. All right? I believe that I have the answers for a community like this. I believe in ideas of bringing in 2-year college training to a community like this, all across the country, in fact, because I think the way jobs change so much these days, you need to be able to transition. And I think River Parish's community college is the kind of place that could support something like that. I'm also an insurance agent. I work every day with a lot of people like you who own homes and are trying to keep that insurance over their head to help keep that roof over their head. I'm for the idea of getting tax breaks for people who are able to put a new and improved roof on their house, over their house. I'm a little bit disappointed that the one Democrat running for this position didn't show up today. I think he kind of thinks that he has this job coming to him, or this vote coming to him for a lot of people in this room. I think otherwise. I think that I actually can earn it.
Thank you, Mr. Shells. And I will ask if the candidates will remain seated so that you can be recorded properly. Mr. Graham.
How y'all doing? I've had the fortune of having y'all host me in the past, so I'm always blessed that y'all do that. And I've been on y'all's ballots before, whether it was asking for a Senate seat with Mr. Chambers and trying to oust Mr. Kennedy. I'm not going to say I'm anti-anybody, because if a gentleman gets elected or a lady gets elected for the presidency, the job I'm seeking, I have to be able to work with them. One of the problems that we all see in D.C. is the fact that no one works together. Let me go back to introduction. My name is Devin Lance Graham. I'm from Ascension Parish. Born in Baton Rouge, but got to come down here when I was 6 and got to enjoy this parish for the last few years of my life, of this part of my life, let me say. And it's about Louisiana for me. It's about bringing jobs here. It's about bringing jobs that we have lost in my lifetime to the other side of the world that I think many other people have seen. I'm 37 years old. I know that most of the people I went to school with were told if you don't go to college, you're not going to be successful. I dropped out of River Parishes to be an electrician, real estate broker, and everything else. I'm probably the most successful person in my family. So I want to remind people that you don't have to listen to someone else tell you what to do with your life. Love each other, work hard, work your butt off sometimes, and enjoy it. Be kind to people. Don't look at each other different. Look at each other with love, and you'll be successful. Wish each other happiness and blessings. You'll be successful yourself. And there's no other way to say it. We need someone to represent Louisiana. I have nothing against anybody on the ticket with me, but I'm just ready to represent the people of Louisiana. Our new redistrict would have put me in the 6th. Technically, I would be in the 6th until this election, but today I'm blessed to be in the 2nd, and I'm asking for y'all's votes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Perilou.
Thank you. I'm Chandra Perilou. I'm also a female Republican Party candidate for District 2. My American heritage is richly, deeply rooted in this country that I love. My father's family is French descendant. We came here from the city of Torrance to fight the American Revolutionary War. My family side of the family is Native American and Haitian. My mother is Native American and Asian. Both sides of my family served in World War I and World War II. I have always been proud of my heritage. You and I both should be proud of our American heritage because it's what keeps us unified in both the worst of times and the best of times. I was called to run for Congress to serve the common people in District 2 so that I can fight for a better future for our veterans, our children, and our youths, and I will fight for the elderly and the unborn. I have the insight to know and understand the needs of the common people in District 2. My unique skills and abilities in introducing new policies, procedures, resolutions qualify me to do the same and more for you when you send me to Washington. I graduated in the top 10 of my class, Destrehan High School. I stayed on the honor roll periodically throughout my whole high school experience. I have 2 college degrees in accounting and business administration. I built my residential and commercial contracting company from the ground up. I earned my place. I earned my place to understand the struggles of the common working people and the small and large businesses. If you and when you enable me to go to Congress once I'm elected, I will apply my unique 25 years of pro se legal experience, which I was exceptional because I caused the St. John the Baptist Parish to update their outdated charter, and I also caused the St. John the Baptist Parish School Board to follow their own policies and procedures. From that, my work speaks for itself. It's not what I will do, it's what I will continue to do.
Thank you, Mr. Valiant.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Valiant, and I am running for Congress in the 5th District. I am Louisiana born and raised. I grew up in Alexandria, Louisiana. I graduated from Louisiana Christian University with a bachelor's degree in sociology and criminal justice. My professional life consists of me working for the state of Louisiana as a Social Security disability analyst. With that experience, it allowed me to open up a Social Security disability firm where I have been operating successfully for the past 10 years. In addition to that, I am a real estate broker, and I own and operate the company Valiant Realty, LLC. My story is similar to the stories that I've heard from the other candidates. I started with nothing. I got to realize the American dream by being a small business owner. I understand the struggles that we all face just trying to make ends meet. With my disability business, I see our neighbors and family and friends try to work, but for unforeseen circumstances, they get sick and can't make it to full retirement age. And so they have to file an application for disability.
You're done?
Yes, ma'am, I'm done.
Thank you. Mr. Hires?
Good evening. Thank you all for having us. My name's Frankie Hires. I'm a citizen of Jefferson Parish, transplanted from Southern California about 28 years ago, and I thought I found Mayberry, USA here in Southeast Louisiana. And make no mistake, it was. It was like stepping back in time 30 years ago in all the best of ways, some of those still worst of ways. And I'm sure plenty in this room know what I'm talking about if you go back 30 years ago in this state. I'm just here trying to spark a little curiosity, and I believe a way we could go. I don't have a platform. I'm not here to sell you on some platitudes or sell you on what I might be able to do for you. I think it's about time that we become our government. I think that we settled for an either or long enough. I'm the only candidate for office in the whole state of Louisiana that has no party affiliation. So if you've had enough, have you really had enough? Yeah, either or, back and forth, token gestures, half measures, blame shifting to one party or the next that happens to hold the Senate. I'll be a voice of reason, simply. So if you've had enough of that political mess, this November, you could send them a message. You could send them Frankie and tell them no party for Congress. Now, it might not make a difference unless that's evenly split. But as I've become familiar with Ascension Parish, and I'm meeting people from Sorrento out to East Gonzales, if you live in District 2, District 6, or District 10 of your Ascension Parish Council, I'm your dude. I'll come and get to know you. I'll find out what you want me to do for you and yours. And then I'll weigh that against, well, it's 170,000 people registered to vote in St. Tammany, 100,000 in Jefferson Parish. I only got 20,000 people in Ascension Parish that I have to be a servant to. But I am dedicated to be a public servant to everyone. In order to secure the blessings of liberty, that thing that's in the end of our preamble, we're obliged not to you, not to me, not to him or her, but to ourselves, and more importantly, to our posterity. We got to get to figuring this out, because the people that are holding our power, just reflections of our neglect to how they got it.
Mr. Davis.
Good evening. My name is Devin Davis. I am a proud native of the greater New Orleans area, with my family's lineage tracing back in the river parishes in St. John Parish, some 250 to 300 years. I'm also blessed to have had the opportunity to have organized in my community to build power since I was 14 years old, working with organizations like Planned Parenthood, Black Lives Matter, numerous campaigns across our country, and most recently for the last 3.5 years, working with the organization Voice of the Experienced, where we advocate for the rights of formerly incarcerated people, voting rights, and housing justice. When I look at this current race, and I think about why I decided to get into this race, I look back on the degradation of our communities that we have experienced across Cancer Alley. I look at the families that have sadly lost loved ones due to the toxic air and the toxic water in their backyard. I look at my own family, who has had countless cousins, aunts, uncles, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, that have worked at these petrochemical plants without any other option. My grandfather worked at the Shell oil refinery in Norco for the last 25 years of his life. And it was only the last 25 years of his life because he was diagnosed with prostate cancer and only given 2 weeks left to live. The tragedy to me is how that's not a one-off instance. How there are far too many people, there are far too many families who have lost a loved one throughout our district. There are far too many people throughout our district that are forced to suffer with a life-term illness, a respiratory illness, or a form of cancer that they never asked for. I believe that these people deserve justice. I believe that you cannot hold industries accountable when you're actively taking money from them like our current congressman. And I promise you, if I am blessed to be elected as your next congressman, I will be building a grassroots coalition that will bring our communities to Washington.
Thank you. We'll move to the Public Service Commissioner candidate, Mr. Laborde.
Everybody, my name is Nick Laborde. I'm running for Public Service Commission District 2, and thank you to Delta Sigma Theta for hosting this event tonight. I did want to take a moment to mention that at a moment where so many of our Louisianans of lifestyles that we might not understand are under attack, the Democratic candidate who's not here for District 1, their pronouns are them. So that's very important, and I just wanted to bring that up. So my name is Nick Laborde, and I'm running for the Public Service Commission District 2, and I don't come from money. I don't come from power. I come from a story growing up in Marksville, Louisiana, where my dad was mayor, and the thing he was most proud of, we'd ride around town growing up, and he'd point at the fire station, and he'd smile, and he'd say, the thing I was most proud of as mayor is I turned the volunteer fire department into a full-time one. And he's still proud of that to this day, 30 years later, still fully funded. My great-grandfather before him turned the volunteer department, he created it in the first place. So in 3 generations, we solve problems and help people, and that is what I'm about. I'm the only candidate in the race that's not taking money from utility companies, and my opponents have been taking it their entire career. They're not here tonight, but I am. I'm showing up. I'm here. I'm ready to engage with y'all. We can embrace clean energy, we can thrive on the other side of the energy transition, and the Public Service Commission District 2 is an opportunity to help our state be #1, something where we live in a state where we always hear 48, 49, 50 out of 50. How about #1 out of 50, because we decided to embrace the future. So with myself on the Public Service Commission, we can embrace clean energy, we can lower costs for ratepayers, and most importantly, we can make Entergy pay more and stop price gouging the ratepayers and put everything onto your bill. No. We're going to make Entergy pay more.
Thank you. We'll move on to the judicial candidate.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Jennifer Gotro-Prescott, and I am your candidate for judge in the parishes of Ascension, Assumption, and St. James. This seat that I am running for is a brand-new seat. It was created by the legislature this past session, signed into by the governor on June 11th, and up for election on November 5th. This new seat was requested many years ago to help alleviate the clogging of the dockets that we have, especially here in Ascension Parish. If you've been in court, you understand what this seat means for us. I am a lawyer, clearly. I have been in practice for 13 years. The last 7 of those, I have been in private practice for myself with 2 law partners. I practice a general caseload. I handle matters in family law, in civil law, in criminal law, in juvenile, in probate and successions. I have handled a case in every area of the law that a general jurisdiction seat would handle. I've got the experience to be able to get into the spot, take the bull by the horns, and let's clear up some of these dockets. Let's get the cases moving. Let's get these resolutions for us and our families. I hope that you would remember on November 5th, whenever you go to the polls, to vote for number 33, Jennifer Gotro-Prescott. Thank y'all.
You're welcome. Next, we'll hear from our candidate for mayor of City of Donaldsonville.
Good afternoon. Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today. I want to thank Ms. Spears and all the members of Delta Sigma Theta. I want to thank you, Ms. I'm getting ready to say Peyton Singleton, and all the members of the NAACP for putting on this forum. I am pleased to say that I am Reverend Mayor Leroy Sullivan. I am an ordained minister of the gospel. I am an associate minister at the Mount Zion Baptist Church in Donaldsonville, Louisiana, where my pastor is Reverend Darrell L. Smith, Jr. I am also the mayor of the city of Donaldsonville and have been the mayor for the last 20 years. Some people say 20 years is too much. It is time for a change, but I argue the difference and let you know that I bring experience, knowledge, and a whole lot to the city of Donaldsonville. Donaldsonville isn't like the city of Gonzales or other communities where there is a lot of tax base and things going on in order to bring in money into the community. If you look at the city of Donaldsonville, number one, it is the 3rd oldest city in the state of Louisiana, and it has a poverty rate of about 47%. So how do you correct that? I am the one that has the vision and the plan in order to do it and have been working this for several years. If you know anything about politics, you know that it takes time in order to get anything done. I can tell you that I'm the only person and the only mayor in Ascension Parish and probably the state of Louisiana who have received over $34 million in the last 12 months in order to do natural gas infrastructure. I want to say that I'm the husband of Kathy Victor Sullivan, and I have 8 children. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Next, we'll move to the candidates for mayor for the city of Gonzales. Mr. Irvin.
No, thank you, Delta Sigma Theta, for this opportunity. My name is Terrence Irvin, and I'm a candidate for the mayor of the city of Gonzales. And what I bring to the table is experience, dedication, and in leadership. But before I say that, I want to point out my humble beginnings, which took place in Hillerville, small town right outside of the city of Gonzales. 2 wonderful parents, Melvin Irvin and Nell Irvin. The 2 of them accomplished a lot, and some of that accomplishment consists of Melvin Irvin becoming the first black school board member and then the first black president of the school board, and then on to becoming the first black state representative. And so feeding his and taking care of his family, he also developed a company that fed his family and educated his family. It's that energy from my family that taught me the importance of public service. And so from there, I started to get involved in the community. I got appointed to the council and the planning and zoning, and from there, we grew and I learned how to develop a community. My experience consists of working with the council and working with the police department and things of that nature. we have an opportunity right now as Gonzales begin to transition toward a growth. As you see, Gonzales going from the population in 2000, when I got elected, 8,000 population to approximately right now 20,000 people. And so during my tenure, I had the pleasure to work with the council to build quality of life projects. Jambalaya Park, Kids Cove Park that accommodates the disability children, new fire station, new police department. And so as we move forward, I offer to the citizen of Gonzales my experience in 20 years. And I ask that the citizen consider my experience and dedication. Dedication consists of attending all meetings at 100%. And so, thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Bailey, Lomas.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you to Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, as well as the NAACP for hosting this event. I truly believe that an engaged community is good for government. Who am I? I am Kimlin Bailey Lomas. I'm a mayoral candidate here in the city of Gonzales. What do I bring to you as your next mayor? I bring a degree in business administration with certifications in project management as well as accounting. I have over 20 years in governmental experience where I've worked on the parish, local, and state levels, serving as a paralegal, program manager, and an administrator. I am trained, certified, and experienced in emergency management, serving 12 years as your planning and intel section chief. I am an appointed official to the Gonzales Planning and Zoning Committee. I am educated, I am experienced. I'm knowledgeable and capable of bringing good government to Gonzales. I am fourth-generation resident here in the city of Gonzales. My mom, dad, daughters, and myself were educated here. I believe in community. I am committed to service, and I have a passion for the city of Gonzales. We live here, we raise our families here, and we exercise a healthy life and work balance. And that's something that I want to see continue for future generations. As your next mayor, I will improve drainage and infrastructure, continue the work that has molded my life in this community, further provide accountability and transparency, ensuring that transparency is not just a word, but it is an action. Plan smart connectivity, and smart connectivity would look like public transportation, something Gonzales truly needs. Bringing awareness and engagement to the forefront, an engaged community brings about awareness, and we continue to work together. So in the city of Gonzales, I bring you education, qualification, true experience, and real leadership. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Riley.
Yes, my name is Timothy Raleigh. I'm married to Mary J. Raleigh. I have 5 kids. I'm a retired business agent along Sherman. I have a plan for Gonzales. I am pro-constituent. I have a voting record that is amazing. Number 1, public safety. Police department, fire department is going to be supported and held accountable. Number 2, drainage improvements. I'm going to work along with Ascension Parish government to make sure drainage gets done. Number 3, I'm going to help with economic development, create jobs. I am going to make sure we have less residential homes and more businesses. Number 4, I am going to make sure that drainage is number 3. Oh, sorry, number 3, yeah. Drainage, I'm gonna make sure the drainage will be done decent and in order. And then, with that being said, I wanna jump to the Highway 44 corridor. That is our next economic engine. That is where the next boom in Gonzales is gonna happen. We have to be prepared for it. We have to check our capacity. We have to know the water capacity, the infrastructure capacity. We have to know all those things because it's coming, it's on the way. I am the candidate that will serve the people, and I'm for the people. I love the people. I love this city. I love Gonzales. I am your man. With that being said, Tim Raleigh, number 39, cast your vote for Timothy Tim Raleigh. Thank y'all so much.
You're welcome. Mr. Stewart.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Deltas. My name is Harold Stewart. I'm a sitting city councilman here in the city of Gonzales. I'm a three-termer. I've served 5 years. I'm one of the only candidates that served under 2 mayors in the last 40 years in this city. I've served under Johnny Berthelot for 5 years, planning and zoning. I served under Barney Arsenault for the last 10 years. My space in this city is that I've worked hard for the last 15 years of voting to bring this city to where it's at. And I know my vote was successful and it counts because when we look around at this city, we see where it's at. It's a very unique city. It's a very diverse city. But also, I want to back up and tell you about me. I'm a young man that I started in business in this city at the age of 20 years old. I'm 60. I've had 2 or 3 businesses in this city. I'm the owner of Stewart's Barbershop. I'm the former owner of beauty salons. I am the former owner of Stewart Cigars in this city. So I am probably one of the youngest minority businessmen in this city, have survived over 40 years. But my job is stepping up right now to be mayor from a city councilman. That our mayor stepped up to be the executive director of LMA. And I want y'all to know, the city of Gonzales is an economic development city. That's what makes us so wealthy in this city. There are several projects.
Next, we'll go to the candidates for Chief of Police in Gonzales. Mr. Jackson.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
And thank you, Delta Sigma Theta, for holding this forum. And I do agree with you. An informed crowd is a good crowd. So my name's Sherman Jackson. I've been the Chief of Police for 16 years. I started with the PD 30 years ago. I am married to Leslie York Jackson, and we have 3 kids, Devin, Bria, and Alexander. I'm a member at First Calvary, Pilgrim Calvary Baptist Church, and I am responsible for bringing the Gonzales Police Department into the 21st century of policing. The first thing I done was created an organizational structure that holds more people in the office accountable. The next thing I done was focused on building a police department and providing them with the building, and everything that goes along with it. I have given my guys all the tools necessary to do their jobs. So throughout the years, I've watched Gonzales grow. In the last 10 years, we've grown roughly 13 to 15%. And we have to think of innovative ways to slow down crime, stop crime, fight crime. That's what we do. I've implemented tools such as body cameras for our guys. We've redone policy, no chokeholds or anything like that. We have also, I got 15 seconds. I've done a lot, and I'm sure I'll get to the rest of that through the questions. Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Ussery.
Thank you for hosting this event. My name is Stephen Ussery. I'm a 21-year veteran of the Gonzales Police Department, and I'm here tonight to tell you that I want to be your next chief of police. I believe we need a new face of leadership for the city police department, and I believe I am that leader who is not afraid to restore and maintain law and order in our city. I'm a leader who will be present, active, available, and fully committed to my duties. I go to work every day. That's what I do. I'm a worker, I'm a grunt, I'm a blue-collar guy, and I like to be on the street in the action. But I want to be chief because I think we need a change. One thing I want to bring to our department is a culture of inclusiveness. Our department has developed a situation when I was there, and I've been retired now for 5 years, going on 5 years. We've developed a clique in the department where a few are catered to, a few are favoritism, and the rest of us are on the outside looking in. I want to bring a spirit of inclusiveness where each officer in my department feels like they're wanted, included, and their job is important, and that we all have equal treatment. I want to also maintain and beef up our patrol division. It is the backbone of every police department. We need to have officers present and visible out there, and that hasn't been the case in the last several years. Presence and visibility is the first step in crime, in deterring crime. When people who want to do ill will in your city see officers here and there, maybe some blue lights here or somewhere, they're going to think twice about acting different. The last point I want to make is we have a major drug problem in our state, in our parish, and right here in our city, and I want to make that a top priority. That has hit home to my family personally.
Thank you. We'll move on to the candidates for council and the city council in the city of Donaldsonville.
Thanks for hosting this event. My name is Jonathan P. Weebelt. I've been in the district for the last 4 years. I hear the people of District 2. They need honesty, integrity, and transparency at City Hall. I've been on the ground since Hurricane Francine. I've been in the district helping people clean their yards, cutting their trees. At the end of the day, the people in District 2 need new leadership. I want to bring back honesty, integrity, and transparency to City Hall. I was told you can't beat the clique, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to join them because I have the passion to drive for the people, and I want to be your next city councilman.
Thank you. Mr. Washington.
Yes, thank you for hosting this event. My name is Cleveland Washington. Married to Dana Washington. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Donaldsonville. I worked at Ascension Parish school system for the last 29 years and 6 months. I currently serve on several state boards, the Louisiana Child Welfare and Attendance Board for 4 terms. I currently serve as DPEC chair here in Ascension for the Ascension DPEC for the last year, and then current chair. I also serve with the Louisiana Missionary Baptist State Convention as vice president for their Southeast region, which runs from Ascension through St. Mary Parish. And then I serve with the Southern University alumni as their first vice president. I've been, through my history, you'll see that I have been a proven leader, and I have shown myself lovable, friendly, and caring for every individual that I've met throughout my time throughout Ascension Parish. I got into the race for one reason: to help to move the city that I love forward. I see good things happening, but I want to be a part of more good things. I want to see our youth have other activities going on, build a community for our youth. Children are our future. If our children fail, our city fails. So therefore, we need to build our children, our recreation. Then we need to market our city. We have a rich history in Donaldsonville that is not even being seen. It's our job to get out, show the individuals that Donaldsonville is the best place to be. My philosophy is government for the people and by the people.
Thank you. Ms. Daigle.
Good afternoon. My name is Chantel Daigle. I am from the city of Donaldsonville. I'm a candidate for District 3. I attempted to run. I'm not sure, maybe some people, I see some faces in here that know, 4 years ago for the same seat that I'm running right now. And I actually was a little upset that I didn't get a chance to put my boots on because I wanted to really run in this race. But you know, I wasn't ready. At that time, I was not ready to run. I needed to put myself in a position to learn from the seasoned people, such as Mayor Leroy Sullivan and other people that have been on the council, community members, Ms. Robin Delaney, different people with the school system. I needed to sit back and literally almost take myself to college to understand what was going on. I have 4 children, adult children. I have 3 beautiful grandchildren.
I'm a business owner in the city of Donaldsonville for nearly 10 years. I did my business and I'm still running it right now. I am a public servant and I want to help. Also, I've taken myself into positions where I made myself familiar with everything that was going on in the city of Donaldsonville, whether it's helping out with the African American Museum, whether it's with helping out with the WAG Center, attending mostly city council meetings, parish meetings. If I can't catch it on Go Personally, I'll go Channel 21 and watch parish meetings to study, to see what it's like to be a public servant. I don't want to say I earned it yet because I didn't get elected, but there's two candidates that are running against me, and I'm willing to do what I need to do to take District 3 moving forward. I'm passionate, I'm committed, and I'm ballot number 49, District 3, City of Donaldsonville.
Thank you. We'll move on to the candidates for council in the city of Gonzales. Mr. Williams. You're welcome.
I was a big part of the development in Gonzales for the last 20 years. I'm running for city councilman in Division 8, which comprised of the drainage department. I was on the planning and zoning committee for 20 years, and it took me 18 years to get my own ditch clean. So when I decided to run for city councilman, my pledge is never to let anybody have to wait that long to get their ditch ever clean again. Drainage is a big problem in Ascension Parish, and we have a lot of work to do to fix drainage. You know, my 20 years on planning and zoning, all I heard was we can't. You know, I want to know why we can't. We can fix drainage. It's a simple solution. You know, as I knock on doors and talk to people, you know, they was like, why are we putting these little holes in the ground when we got a big hole sitting to the south of us that will take all the water we can give it? So we can fix drainage. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Gray James. Good afternoon to the Deltas. I'm happy to see the Deltas. My daughter was a member of the Delta sorority. She's deceased now, Sheree Lynn James. I'm a lifelong resident of Gonzales. I attended East Ascension High School and graduated from East Ascension High School. I'm a graduate of Southern University. I'm a retired employee of the state of Louisiana with 30 plus years as a financial auditor. I'm a retired teacher assistant with Ascension Parish school system with 13 years. And I'm a lifelong resident. I've been in the community, fighting for the community for a long time. I've been openly going to all of the city council meetings, planning and zoning, speaking up for the community. And I saw a need where a lot of things were not getting done. So I decided to run because I didn't see a lot of unity with the city council so far as voting in favor of things for the community and things that need to get done. We have a lot of major issues within the city of Gonzales with the drainage, traffic, the crime, and the population growth. And I wanted to see these things move forward. And I felt it was best to work on the city council where I can vote to make sure that I can help my community. So again, my name is Cynthia Gray James, running for City Council, Division C, number 58, and I'm for the people. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marvin Glover. I'd like to thank the Deltas for having me here, giving me this opportunity. I've been a resident of Gonzales basically my whole life, except for the time when I was in the military. I'm an 8-year U.S. Army veteran. On coming back to the state of Louisiana, I attended LSU, and after leaving LSU, I got into the restaurant business. I have about 30 years under my belt. I've done multi-unit management. It's given me the opportunity to deal with people from every type of background. And you really get to see what some people go through and some of the things that they deal with. Right now, I'm running for Gonzales City Council, Division E, and I would like everyone to know one thing for sure, that this seat is an open seat. So it'll be coming in, it'll be something new. You'll be having a person there with fresh ideas, a new way of looking at things. It may not be the same what you've seen in the past, but I guarantee you it'll be something that's going to be reliable and adjustable for everyone. I think that we have a lot of opportunity here in Gonzales. It's a rich, full of culture. I see the growth economic-wise. We have a corridor on Highway 30 now. When I was a kid, the only thing we had there was East Bank Plaza, and you only had A&P and TGNY there. Now we have Tanger Outlet, we have hotels, we have the new Pace Center. We have a lot of things to offer. Recently, we had at one of the council meetings, they mentioned that Impact Sports was going to come in and manage the kids' sports. And so what I did was I reached out to Wayne Grunfeld to find out exactly what they were going to do. And he was open with me and told me some of the things he wanted to do to bring people into the city. So I think our economic outlook is looking real great for us.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Deletrick Dickerson. For those that don't know me, lifelong resident of Gonzales. Love this community, graduated from East Ascension. I'm currently employed at Italco Aluminum in Gramercy. I'm a steel worker. Recording secretary for the local, co-chair of the safety department, co-chair of the grievance departments, co-chair of the human and civil rights, and I'm over human and civil rights for District 13. My basic thing is, if I'm gonna complain about something, I'm gonna get involved with it. Here's the one thing, I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you this, that, and the other. I'm gonna tell you the truth. If I can't help you, I can't help you. But I'm gonna be honest about it. I'm gonna tell you the truth about the situation. Gonzales has a lot of great things going for it. We just need to fine tune some things. Most importantly, I don't have to like you to work with you. It's not about you and me, it's about the community. We have to get certain things done. We're not here to make friends. We make friends, that's fine. But we got to move our community forward. Like Brother Marvin said, this community has come from the festival on Burnside to moving here to moving there. I remember all these different things. We've lost a lot of founding businesses. Marshawn's gone, Cal's gone. So I'm for the economic growth. I just think things need to be taken care of first. Like I said, my name is Deletrick Dickerson. I'm running for City Council, Division A. Thank you.
You're welcome. We will now begin the forum, starting with the congressional candidates. We'll start with Mr. Hires. Given the alarming rates of cancer and other health issues in the area known as Cancer Alley, what specific federal environmental regulations will you propose to ensure the health and safety of the residents? And then how should industries be held accountable for the pollution while also supporting local economy?
Well, one of the things I've noticed, having run for state senate, parish council for Jefferson Parish, second largest parish in the state, is that though these people are titled representatives, whether they're council members or representatives to your state or representatives to your senate, they seem to not understand the power of office, what the purpose of that power is, to represent the people. Well, the bigger the ratios get, the more people that they're trying to represent, and the more disjointed they are, with Ascension Parish being split into 3 different districts, it's very hard to attend to the people that you might otherwise serve. So having a unity of purpose and realizing the power that the office has to impress upon each parish's officials, exercising that power of office, that's first.
Thank you. And I will remind you, you have 1 minute to answer the question. Mr. Davis.
Yes, absolutely. You know, when you look at the power that the EPA and the federal government currently has to do something in our communities, one of the main sticking points, we just had President Biden here a few weeks ago with his cancer moonshot. Yes, we need to apply more regulations to the plants that currently exist to ensure that the toxins that are spewing out into the air aren't going into our communities. But we need to go a step further. The EPA has the authority to pass an actual moratorium to prevent any new leases being given to further petrochemical plants throughout our corridor. I believe the surefire way to lower cancer rates is to reduce the amount of toxins that are within our communities. And on the second point of that, how do you hold them accountable? I personally believe that these folks throughout our communities that have negatively suffered health outcomes deserve reparations and justice for what has been done to them. Their families deserve to be compensated, and those corporations need to be held to account for the wrong that they've done in our communities.
Thank you. Mr. Valian.
So we need to let the EPA do what it is that they're set out to do, which is to regulate what these plants are putting out as far as pollutants into our river. We need to ensure that the companies that are in charge of these plants, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Ms. Pearlou.
The St. Charles Concerns member of the environmental movement, which caused us to move from St. Charles Parish and relocate in St. John the Baptist Parish. I was also instrumental in organizing and helping with the concerned citizens of St. John the Baptist Parish. One of the things that I think that we can utilize strongly is considering independent inspections to monitor the emission levels, which will cause an increase of jobs and will promote transparency and fairness of an independent inspector to monitor the emission level. Is my understanding from all of the meetings that I've attended as it relates to Council Alley, the main concern is the acceptable emission level. However, that has always been a very strong issue, so my point is this: an independent inspector. It will increase jobs and it will provide fairness in the monitoring of the emission levels.
Thank you. Mr. Graham.
Well, I'll say this with Ascension Parish, and we'll go with like even Kaiser. In 55 or so, our Met came to Ascension. Kaiser moved downriver from Baton Rouge in the 70s. These plants were a blessing for a lot of people, and then, of course, became the worst thing for a lot of people's health. The issue is they were built 50, 60 years ago, and there's no incentive for them to clean it up. So one thing I would want to do on a federal level, and we can do it through tax breaks or whatever, I know people hate that word, but we can say, rebuild your plant to today's standards, to higher standards, change our standards from just being, okay, this is acceptable, this is phenomenal. We can monitor these things from the sky. You don't have to have someone in the field every day shooting things in the air. You can do this through drones and unfortunately, satellites and everything else. But we can move these plants, improve these plants, and rebuild these plants, not only creating jobs for a whole entire region, state, maintain our children the ability to stay at home instead of having to leave, go to Texas, Alabama, et cetera, for opportunity, but improve our lives overall. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Shales.
Thank you. My impression when I look at this, and I teach classes on this, I touch on this area when I teach real estate classes about the Fair Housing Act. We talk about NIMBY, the not in my backyard aspect of this, which is what we're looking at right here. Where do these plants go? oftentimes, even when they come into a parish like this, they still end up in the poorest part of the parish. It's a real challenge. And my impression is that the feds right now have some decent laws, and they look to actually make those laws more stringent. At the state level, it seems to be a lot of pushback going on to keep these laws relaxed. So I will tell you this right now, a lot of this is on all of us. If we really want this, we really have to push harder with our representatives through the city council and also through our state legislature, all the way up to people like me. It's going to take a lot to be able to deal with something like this. It's a tough question right now. Good jobs versus some of the challenges.
Thank you. Second question for the congressional candidates. In light of the Supreme Court's ruling in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, which effectively nullified the constitutional protections for abortion that were established under Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood v. Casey, how do you envision addressing the potential disparities in access to reproductive health care that may arise as individual states gain the authority to regulate abortion without federal oversight? Ms. Pearlou.
Well, truly, I believe as a woman, we should be respected about the choices of our body, but hopefully that we will make moral decisions. I'm pro-life with exceptions. There's unfortunate situations, but as an ordained woman of God, it's questionable, but I really feel that it's something personal, and if it's a choice that needs to be made, it needs to not be made at the expense of opposition's monetary support. It needs to be financially supported by those who support those types of actions. So that would be my answer to address that in the most fair way of consideration, to keep that open for the individuality. I'm not a dictator. I'm a fighter for people, not a dictator of people.
Thank you. Mr. Graham.
I think this is the question that all my life I've enjoyed politics. It's a weird thing to say out loud, but all my life I've heard about it, and I'm a gentleman. I have no children, and I've never got anybody pregnant. Promise, I tested them. But I can say it like this. I spent most of my life saying, it's not my responsibility to tell someone else how to act. At 37 years old, my opinion's changing just because my heart's changing, my mind's changing, and we're evolving all the time as individuals, and that's who I am. Today, I would say the best thing we've done is we've given the state some power, and that might not be this state's favorability for some people's decisions, but I love the fact that we took something back to the states, using the 10th Amendment, giving the states rights to give people of that state the right to have a decision. Now, if you're asking, do I think the federal government needs to preside? No, I don't want a federal ban, and I don't want a federal protection of.
Thank you. Mr. Shales.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I believe that life begins at conception. That being said, I also believe in the woman's right to have an abortion up to week 21 or something around that area, to include going past that time to ensure the health of the woman, or if there's a question about the viability of the fetus. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Hires.
Well, this one hits home. As a man of renewed faith, if I were a woman, I don't think I could ever go there. But I'm not. So when it comes to securing that blessing of liberty, that's not freedom, and that's not equality, not by some sense of justice or opportunity. No, that's the power of self-determination. And each of us has that obligation to each other, ourselves, to secure that to ourselves. If it requires legislation to make a crime, to make half of the population criminal, or those that would seek to give aid to half of the population, I'm a hard no, period. There is no way that any legislation that imposes its criminality upon a woman is long for this world.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Yes, again, as I had stated, I had originally got started with organizing through Planned Parenthood. I firmly believe in a woman's right to choose. I believe what we're seeing right now across our country are states invading the rights of our women in decisions that need to be made between them and their doctor. I believe that we need to codify Roe v. Wade into law and to ensure that these protections are federal, because what we're seeing is state by state. We are putting women at risk, women who are risking crossing state borders, women who are risking going to sketchy clinics to try to get the necessary help that they need. This is a health matter that needs to be between a woman and her doctor, period.
Thank you. Mr. Valian.
I believe in a woman's right to choose. It's not really an issue of killing an unborn child. It is really to do with a woman's ability to say, I have control of my body. I would like to have control of my body. If this is for a health reason, I have the choice to have an abortion. As far as codifying Roe v. Wade, I mean, the Dobbs decision should have never been overturned. We had a system in place that allowed women to have access to the health care that they need.
Thank you. We have a question from the audience, and this will be the last question for our congressional candidates. What will you do to prevent DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, from taking over our schools, city, parish, and state? Mr. Graham.
I think I have a beauty of being 37 and then spent a little time in North Baton Rouge schools, a little time in Prairieville schools before it was the new suburbs post-Katrina, knowing that individuality is important. Skin color is something that you don't make a decision off of somebody on. If adjectives come to matter, it's going to be about the character of the person. So I would say the same thing with education hiring, any government hiring. We need to hire people based on their skills, their assets, and what they can do, how they can serve. I don't even want to use current situations, but not because of their gender or anything based on that sense for protections of people, not because their skin color matched something that was a necessity to have a quota met. We need to make sure, going back to like Chief Jackson over there, I want a cop who's a good cop, not just because I need to hire a number.
Thank you. Mr. Shales.
I don't think DEI is in any way taking over our communities. I think what we're just starting to see is a plurality of the search for truth. It's not an issue. And what's an issue is that there are people who right now who are afraid just to deal with digging into matters deeper and harder. I grew up in this, I grew up in this country, I grew up in this community. I grew up learning one thing and not knowing everything. Quite frankly, a lot of what we hear today, I think, is just too much fear and too much anger about just a little bit of change. We need to be open to the ideas of change, open to the ideas of hearing what is the truth. Not just, look, here's the deal, folks. There's a lot of small truths out there. The real question boils down to this: what's the most true? Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Hires.
His advice to George Washington, the first Secretary of State, regarded the distribution of power, and he said that the construct, that Constitution that we all, any of us have sworn to support and defend, would reduce the distribution of power to an arithmetical operation upon which no two persons could differ. Well, we can differ a lot about diversity, inclusion, and equity. Those are moving targets, and they're going to keep on moving. As a census worker, the fastest growing clip right now is 2 or more races. And when I spoke to the statewide meetings, and I went to 8 of them on behalf of every parish in Louisiana to speak to this issue specifically, as long as that arbitrary line is there, we're going to suffer for it on either side of it. And there's no king or queen that's going to benefit us any more than we can benefit ourselves. We got to figure this out.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Yes, when I think about DEI and the pushback that we're receiving across our country, what I would really be interested in is what a lot of our folks believe DEI actually is. Because it seems like a lot of people believe that this is putting people of color in positions of power and authority without any qualifications for these jobs. That is not the case. These are hardworking individuals that are qualified for the positions from which they are holding. And if we do not acknowledge as a country the negative impacts that racism has had on our people, then we are failing our future. I am not going to be up here and say that we need to completely eradicate DEI because it doesn't make any sense. What makes sense is that we're providing equal opportunity for all of our people, regardless of skin color, in positions where people that are qualified, who just so happen to be black or brown, can be elevated. We should do so.
Thank you. Mr. Valian.
In a perfect world, we wouldn't see skin color, we wouldn't see race, but that's not the world that we live in. We do need to judge people by the character that they have. But in some industries, it just seems like it's just harder for minorities and women to get to a position that they aren't qualified for. That's why the practice is there, to make awareness that it's not to put somebody in a position that they're not qualified for. It's there to make us all aware that we have inclusion.
Thank you. We'll move on to our Public Service Commissioner. As a Public Service Commissioner, you will oversee key areas such as utility regulation, energy policy, and consumer protection. Given Louisiana's diverse energy needs and the ongoing debates around energy sources and rates, how will you balance the need to work with utility companies and the need to keep rates affordable for the residents of Ascension Parish?
Well, we just had Hurricane Francine, and I don't know if I can ask the audience to show of hands, but I know a lot of people here lost power and Ascension was hit very hard. We need the lights to stay on. I think that's the simplest way to say it. We need to stop cutting deals like Entergy getting away with putting up $300 million against a $2 billion deal. We're all going to be paying that $1.7 billion, and I think that's not right. We need to invest in our grid with resiliency. There's a great initiative I've seen in New Orleans called Community Lighthouses. Devin might be able to tell y'all more about that afterwards. About half a dozen places in New Orleans, community centers and churches, they have solar panels, and when the lights go out, the community can convene, they can charge up, get air conditioning, and reconnect with the world. Let's put community lighthouses throughout South Louisiana. Let's invest in clean and renewable energy, because even big oil knows it's coming and they want to put clean energy in their mix so that they can embrace the cost savings that come with it. So embrace clean energy, drive down costs for ratepayers, and hold energy accountable so that we don't get price gouged.
Thank you. To that point, what plans or strategies do you have for improving the energy infrastructure in Ascension Parish? For improving the energy infrastructure in Ascension Parish?
Yes. So kind of building off my previous answer, I want to give the opportunity for folks to embrace clean and renewable energy. It's not easy to get solar panels right now. I know there's kind of a limit that's in there for certain areas. There's a great term that no one knows. You actually know it, but you don't know the word. It's called one-to-one net metering. And what that is a fancy way of saying energy has put a price on the sun. Because when you generate a kilowatt hour with a solar panel, you should get credited back a kilowatt hour. That's one-to-one net metering. Well, right now it's not that way. Energy only gives you about a third of that back. And that's not right, because energy thinks they're so powerful they can put a price on the sun. So I want to give us more access to alternative energy so that our grid can stay up and we have additional options when the lights go out through worsening storms and as our climate is changing.
Thank you. Ms. Prescott?
Yes, ma'am.
As a district court judge, how do you ensure that personal biases do not influence your decisions, and what measures do you take to maintain impartiality?
That to me seems like it is the most difficult job of a judge. One of the things that I tell every one of my clients in new consultations and throughout our cases is the person sitting up at the bench is a human. And as human, we do have personal biases and we do have leanings. One of the, benefits of my experience is that I have been able to see a wide variety of people and situations and scenarios come into my office that I work with, that I work for, that I help out. I plan to bring all of that experience with me to the bench, remind myself that yes, I am a person, but so are those standing in front of me.
Thank you. And how do you balance the letter of the law with ethical considerations when making rulings?
The job of a judge is not to determine, or is not to create the law. It is not to implement the law. The job of a judge is to take the law that is provided by the legislature, by the appellate courts, by the Supreme Court, and apply it to the facts of the case in front of the judge. And so ethics, there are judicial canons. There is a code of ethics for judges in how to preside over matters. But personal ethics should not come into play when making decisions where the law is clear, the law is there, and the facts are in front of the judge.
Thank you. And one final question. How do you see your role as a judge impacting the local community? And what steps do you take to ensure that your courtroom is accessible and fair to all?
One of the things that I have worked very hard for in my private practice is establishing the self-help desk in Ascension Parish. The self-help desk provides forms and guidance, information, no legal advice, no representation, to people who are unable to afford an attorney otherwise. In Ascension Parish, currently, we are doing just divorces, where you've already lived apart for the time and there's some paperwork to go through. My partner and I have also worked with the courts to create a pro se meaning the litigant is representing themselves, a pro se divorce day, so that pro se litigants can go in front of the hearing officer. We can help guide them, but not advise them or represent them, so that the litigants can get their divorces and have that access to the courts. I would hope as a judge that I would be able to work to expand the self-help desk more like other parishes have expanded in helping in other areas of family law.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the candidates for Chief of Police for Gonzales. Mr. Jackson, what is your philosophy on community policing, and how would you foster stronger relationships between the police and the residents of Gonzales?
Thank you for that.
Welcome.
I believe community policing is very important. It builds public trust. It will deliver the understanding that the community need from the police. And they would, be, my guys would be out there and making contact with them. And we have had trainings for the public, for women and their safety, and we'll continue to do things like that to build that trust. And so at the end of the day, we have to make citizens comfortable with police presence, okay? We put officers in the schools so we could, get kids trained up early to trust police officers. So you take that factor and you should get better and stronger as you go each year.
Thank you. Mr. Ussery.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Community policing is very important to me, and I believe it starts with the chief of police. It's hard to put that burden sometimes on the officers who day to day are out there dealing with what they have to deal with. It's a very difficult job. So what I want to do as the chief is bridge that gap between my officers and the community. I want the community to feel comfortable. Let's face it, the community helps the police department. And if they're not willing to cooperate or come forward in investigations, we're hampered in solving crimes in a timely manner. I want to bridge that gap to let the community know that you have a chief that's going to listen to you, be available, and take your concerns into account. And let my officers do their job. And if you have a concern or a complaint after the fact, if you've been dealt with and don't think fairly, come to me. I have the ability to help you and assist you in that area.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson, how would you handle situations involving use of force? What specific training or reforms do you believe are necessary to ensure that officers act responsibly and within legal boundaries?
So we have policy and procedure. So with that document, we have trainers to actually train our police officers. We have our own instructors, right? And so it's important that we have that procedure and that policy so those guys could follow. Now, we train above average more than most police departments or sheriff's offices in the state of Louisiana. And so good policy and good procedures is good for the citizen as well as for the police officer. So at the end of the day, I've seen cases where violence or there was unjustifiable things that occurred. That's why we got body cameras. So we have that second voice and we have that second look to see if any policy was violated.
Mr. Ussery?
Yes. While I was at the police department, we do have policies and procedures that we take very seriously, and they need to be followed. Use of force, let me say this. Sometimes not everybody that carries a gun and a badge should be carrying a gun and a badge. And it's my job as your chief to make sure we have the right people in place. Not everybody reacts the same. So it's a very difficult job for a police officer to know what force is necessary to eliminate the threat that is in front of them. And not all the time is it pulling your weapon. There's only one thing your weapon's pulled for, and that's for lethal force. And a lot of shootings we're having, not here, but across this nation, is because officers are not using the proper use of force criterion to eliminate these situations where innocent people are getting killed.
Thank you. And I have a question from the audience. How do you plan to address the growing drug epidemic in our community, specifically the increase in the use of fentanyl? Mr. Ussery.
Well, this is an issue very important to my family. We lost a niece to a fentanyl overdose. She, it's no doubt in my mind, she had no intention of taking her life the night that she made that fatal decision. But fentanyl is a game changer. It is, our young people primarily, older people too, are being so trusting of accepting non-prescription medication that are laced with fentanyl. And it just takes one trace to lose your life. So it's very important to me. I don't have the exact answer of how but it will be a top priority. And I think we need to take care of our drug problem right here in our city. A lot of times when I was on the force, we had a narcotics agent, but he was always on a task force in other areas. We have a problem right here that we can address and identify users, addicts, and dealers. Not everybody needs to be incarcerated for a small drug problem. Some need to be rehabilitated. We need to distinguish that, work with our DAs and judges to determine who needs what.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Yes. Drugs is a big problem. It touches every community across the United States of America. But we fight the good fight. We tried to minimize as best that we could, the fight against drugs. Drugs is not like it used to be, where people sell on a corner anymore. Everybody has a vehicle. Everybody got cell phones. So we have been partnering with the local, state, and federal task force, right? And I have increased another narcotics agent for the city of Gonzales. So we fight that fight, and we use technology. We use tracking. We use a number of things to help our guys catch the bad guys. And drugs has no jurisdictional boundaries. It goes from here to Texas to Mississippi or wherever. So we have to be capable and be smart to fight that good fight.
Thank you. Let's move on to the mayoral candidates for the city of Gonzales. First question, what are your plans for fostering economic growth in Gonzales, particularly in attracting new businesses and supporting local entrepreneurs? Mr. Irvin.
Well, we have in place the Ascension Parish Economic Development. I plan to, through my administration and council's assistance, work close with the Economic Development Corporation. Now, currently, what they're doing is selling the city, working with private sector, and directing them where property can be sold and businesses can be developed. What I would like to do is engage them more into working with developing small businesses. And so I think at my administration, we would like to focus with working with the Ascension Parish Economic Development Board, use them as an infrastructure to head in that direction as far as small business development, so that we can continue to position Gonzales for future success. I have 15 seconds. I want to mention that, and I'm a little jealous, the gentleman mentioned earlier that he was lovable. I am too.
Thank you, Mr. Irvin. Ms. Lomas.
Yes, as your next mayor, I want Gonzales to be recognized as a hub for comprehensive, smart economic opportunities. We have industry, commercial base, retails. Basically, let's face it, we have what people want, right? But we attract additional rooftops. With rooftops, it continues our growth. So I want to support our local business and attract industry, creating jobs that keeps our kids here at home. But those jobs have to pay a wage in which they're able to comfortably live and work here in the city of Gonzales. We want to keep our people here at home. And our economic base is driven to do that. So we need to ensure that we are hiring from within first. And under my administration, trust and believe I will be looking locally before we look anywhere else. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Riley.
Yes, I would definitely utilize what's at hand already. We have the Ascension Economic Development Board. I would utilize that. But as well, I would get on an airplane and fly to Washington, D.C. and go get the resources that is available to these communities through different organizations in Washington, D.C. I would not be a lamb mayor. I would definitely go get the resources. Then I would connect with other cities that is doing something different, and I would bring that here as well. There's so many opportunities out there. We just got to go get them, and I would be an advocate for that. And then thirdly, I would employ anybody that can attract economic development. I want to hear it. I want them to sit at the table and help us bring that development here.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart.
Yes. I want y'all to know that Gonzales, what makes us so wealthy and as an asset, that we are already an economic development city. That's where our wealth comes from. That's where our assets come from. You know, we have Tanger Mall, we have stores, we have restaurants, and all those things. And what I would do, I would finish, as I was going to say later, I would finish the mayor's project. I have several projects to finish. I have $20 million for Amtrak train to come through here. That train station will provide jobs. I have a $7 million gym to build off of Dollar Street. You know, that would increase economic development because there's an educational center would be built in there. I would like to finish Heritage Crossing. You know, that you see that all our businesses is coming up there, and finish all that work. And then after that, there's another 7 years. After I finish the last mayor's job, I would start another 7 years economic development.
Thank you. Mr. Irvin, how do you plan to address current infrastructure challenges in Gonzales, such as traffic congestion, road maintenance, and public transportation?
Well, currently, the city of Gonzales is working with the state, and as you know, there's some construction taking place on State Highway 30. There's roundabouts in the making. But as far as the city of Gonzales and what I can control as the mayor, I would work toward designing a blueprint to construct streets that would take us from the corridor, from Highway 44 along the interstate to Highway 30, and open up that corridor with streets so that the traffic would have an opportunity to travel elsewhere. That will contribute to the release of the congestion that you see on the Highway 30 and 44, basically creating other routes. That's what the mayor can do with the assistance of the state and federal highways. But so that's the angle or the opportunity I would take.
Thank you. Ms. Lomas.
I welcome this question, because I am very passionate about moving our people along in the city of Gonzales. Gonzales deserves more efficient infrastructure, modern infrastructure that supports our community's growth. I will invest in better roads, expand public transportation, and new community facilities, making our city a great place to live. Let's talk about public transportation. What that looks like to me would be from Cabela's Parkway to Lamar Dixon on to Tanger Mall, right? Transporting our citizens across city to the Premier Entertainment Center and beyond. We need to make Gonzales one city. Connectivity is what we need, smart connectivity. And that growth looks a little different, okay? Because on Burnside, in the heart of Gonzales, we have too many driveways. But what we need is smart planning, and we need to reach out to the state, making sure that we have a representative at every Capital Region Planning Commission meeting, so they're at the table. If we're in the room at the table when the discussions are held, we have a voice. And Gonzales needs to grow up, and how we do that is we need to be present.
Thank you, Mr. Riley.
Yes, I would deal with it in terms of the city of Gonzales can do some of this stuff themselves, improved through strategic investments, such as turn lanes, different stuff like that. Then we would have to partner with some of the state and federal organizations to do bigger projects. Right now, the Highway 30 Coalition is trying to raise $350 million to four-lane Highway 30 from North Airline all the way to Nicholson Highway. All right, that's one of the things. So we would have to partner with industry and work with industry to help industry to raise this money to be able to four-lane Highway 30. And that is ultimate. We need to do that. We have to do that because congestion is getting to be big.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart.
Once again, speaking from the experience of a sitting councilman, right now we're spending $29 million on Highway 30 with 5 roundabouts, starting from Lamar Dixon to Tanger Mall to the interstate and on through to Commerce Street. That's 5 roundabouts that right now is in the works for $29 million. We already spent for a super street from 44 to 30, we've spent with the state $10 million in the city of Gonzales. We have created San Francis Parkway to tie it into Dollar. We did between Veteran and Commerce. We already put that, we put that street in already. So we already are ahead of time right now, and we're prepared to move on with our streets. Right now, the city of Gonzales is sitting on right at $50 million for streets.
Thank you.
And I will continue that process.
Thank you. Last question. How will you collaborate with local schools and community organizations to improve educational opportunities and provide more resources for youth programs? Ms. Lomas.
As we know, education is our future. And it's important that we maintain our educational system. Not bragging, but Ascension Parish has a wonderful education system. It's recognized across the state. I welcome working with Superintendent Edith Walker, my fellow Leadership Ascension classmate, and we'll fight to continue the success of our schools. We have to realize that our children need education all the time, not just when they're at school, but at home as well, because behavior is a problem in our community and it hinders education. When a child is behaving improperly and the teacher can't reach the child in that manner, that also hinders their education. And we are trying to continue the future of our community as well as our educational system in the same path that it's currently on. Thank you.
Mr. Irvin, how would you collaborate with the schools?
Gonzalez, I'm interested in the Boys and Girls Club, and what I would like to do is collaborate with the school system in bringing this into fruition with financial assistance from the school board and also the parish government and whoever may wish to participate in. The Boys and Girls Club is something I'm interested in because it focuses on giving children that age group an opportunity to participate in recreation and educational opportunities. And so that's the angle I would take as far as collaborating with the school system.
Thank you. Mr. Riley.
I have a program right now called the Young Men's of Characters. We go into schools every month and speak to the kids, fifth grader boys. I would be able to bring all of the stakeholders to the table in terms of Ascension Parish School Board, superintendent, and assistant superintendent. Secondly, I would be able to bring teachers together to be able to get ideas from those teachers. Quarterly, I would have meetings with them to make sure and let them know the city of Gonzales is open for business and we want our kids safe and we want to do everything possible to make our kids the best that we can make them. We love our kids, I love our kids, and my action shows it.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart.
Once again, the city of Gonzales have always had a relationship with the school board. You know, when we didn't have a gym, we always shared their gyms, and we always did things for them. But everybody know I will continue that relationship with them, with the school board, and we all know that Ascension Parish and even the state of Louisiana, Ascension Parish has one of the best school systems in this state. You know, so I will continue that relationship with them that we have already.
Thank you. Mayor Sullivan. What specific initiatives or policies would you propose to balance historical preservation with the demands of modern growth in Donaldsonville?
That's a great question. With the city of Donaldsonville being the third oldest city in the state of Louisiana, we want to preserve our history. We want to preserve those buildings, you know, like the one where Pierre Carlis Landry, the first African-American mayor, lived. We want to preserve everything that the River Road African-American Museum is doing in the city of Donaldsonville. We want to preserve those buildings that can be saved, but some of them by demolition, by neglect needs to happen because the people just allowed the buildings to get so far dilapidated that they're not salvageable and be economic at the same time. One of the things that we just did was we applied for a grant for a clean clearance grant through the state, and we received $500,000 in order to do some clearance of blighted property in the city of Donaldsonville.
Okay, so how will you address the current needs such as economic development, public safety, and infrastructure improvements?
When it comes to economic development, along with the parish of Ascension, we have a program what we call From Cradle to Career, where we started the Early Childhood Learning Center, where children as young as 6 weeks old can start to be trained and educated up to the age of 2. We also partnered with RPCC, and there's a satellite campus at Donaldsonville High where the students during the day can go and learn how to weld, how to do process technician work, instrumentation, and there's also a GED program attached to it. Then at night, the parents can go and use the same facilities and get trained for all of the industry that's talking about coming into the community. There's a lot of other parts to it, but my time is out, and I'll be happy to talk to anyone after this meeting to tell them the vision and the plan for the city of Donaldsonville.
Okay, and I have one follow-up. What specific plans do you have to attract new businesses and create jobs in Donaldsonville.
One of the things, if I could just get my people to understand that we need to stop talking negative about the city of Donaldsonville. How can you expect people to come to your house if you're going to talk about your house? So I need to change everyone's the mindset so that they can let people know that Donaldsonville is a great place, not just to live, work, but play as well. And we can attract people. Like we said, we have the historic district. We can attract a lot of people here, but if everyone is on Facebook and talking bad about the city of Donaldsonville, how can you bring growth to it? How can you expect people to come if you're not giving them something or showing them that it is a place that they can be safe? You hear all the time people saying, if I come to Donaldsonville, I'm gonna get shot. The crime rate in Donaldsonville is no worse than the crime rate on the east bank of Ascension Parish or any other community. So we have to stop criticizing ourselves and have an open door policy where people can come in to the city of Donaldsonville and feel welcome.
Thank you. Let's go to our council candidates for the city of Gonzales. What are your top priorities for community development in Gonzales, and how do you plan to address the needs of both residential and commercial? Mr. Dickerson, go on. Mr. Dickerson, yeah.
Yes, thank you for the question. I think the main thing that we have to deal with, I think one of the great things that we have about this little city that we have is we have buildings that we are not utilizing. The Boys and Girls Club is a great start, but you have to teach these kids how to manage their money, deal with credit, show them that there's a better way of doing things in the community as far as getting in all kinds of trouble. We have to find ways to, besides athletics, to teach these kids to show them how to open businesses, apply for grants. And I think that a community center on both sides of Gonzales would be a great thing.
Thank you. Mr. Glover.
Thank you for the question. One of the things that I've looked at to help in the community is incubator, that we can bring kids in, and similar to what Mr. Dickerson said, is teach them different things besides sports or whatever. One of the incubators that we were looking at is a coding incubator that can teach kids how to actually code. I have a couple friends and colleagues that have reached out to me already, and they said that's one of the things they would like to come into the community and offer to our community, to teach our kids how to develop and code.
Thank you. Ms. James.
I think that we need to continue keeping our kids busy with activities after school, whether it's sports, education, or whatever, so that they can stay on top of everything. And I would like to, we have the center coming up, the Jackson Center, in progress, that we're gonna be doing a lot of things with, that will entertain the kids. But we have to find ways to keep these kids off the streets, to keep them busy so they won't get into any trouble. And the only way to do that is to find other means, education-wise and sport-wise.
Mr. Williams.
Yes. No, back in the 90s, I volunteered as a basketball coach in the city of Gonzales. And at the end of the season, at one game left, and two of my players came up to me and said, "Coach, Rusty, the only kid that hasn't scored this year." Rusty was a little white kid. The two kids that came to me, they were African American, and they were wanting him to succeed. He was the only one that hadn't scored. Rusty was a good little kid, and we need to get our kids. I mean, if 7, 8, 9-year-old kids can root and cheer each other on, we need to get our kids back to that, back to basic. I mean, they were wanting him to succeed, and I think we need to work on getting our kids back to cheering and trying to hope each other have success.
Donaldsonville Council candidates, same question. What are your top priorities for community development in Donaldsonville? And how do you plan to address the needs of both residential and commercial areas? Mr. Belt.
Thanks for the question. I would want to work hand in hand with the administration to bring jobs to the city of Donaldsonville. They say that our kids are the future, but we have nothing there. We're not presenting kids opportunities to develop their skills that's at hand. So far as the infrastructure, I think there's a lot of infrastructure that should be done in Donaldsonville that's not being done from my point of view and my eyes that I've seen. And I think the mayor of Donaldsonville is doing a great job. But at the end of the day, as the mayor stated, we can't bring negativity into Donaldsonville, because if you bring negativity there, that's what you're going to get. And like I said, I really want to work hand in hand with the mayor and the administration and try to improve a lot, such as for the kids and all in the district.
Thank you. Mr. Washington.
And looking at bringing jobs and other things into the city, I think we need to have a partnership. In the Southern University, LSU have incubators in their business departments. Partner with them to bring an incubator to Donaldsonville where they can learn how to start a business, how to go through the process of doing all their paperwork and putting things together. And that will help those who are running small businesses from their houses be able to move into a productive business within the community.
Thank you. Ms. Daigle.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry.
I said you're welcome.
Oh, okay. Basically, when it comes to our community, I think that and I always say this is a saying, what you see, you cannot unsee. And our children and our adults in the city of Donaldsonville, we're very small.